Eyal Levi with URM Academy here, and I'm going to unbox Crush by Polyphia, which is December 2017's Nail the Mix track, which will be live mixed by none other than Nick Sampson. So let's take a look at what we got. I imported the tracks into the session. So you can see there's nothing on the mixer. Everything is zeroed out. Let's take a look at what we got. Looks like a bunch of synths, some effects, claps, synths, more synths, bass drops, guitars, 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 bass, and then drums. Now, and one thing that you should keep in mind is with all those guitars there, there's actually no rhythm guitars, which is very interesting. You're going to have to figure out a way to fill out that space with no raging rhythm guitars. But Polyphia provide you with plenty of material to do that with. So let's take a listen, first of all, with nothing on, faders up, see what we're working with. That's already good. Man, this is very well engineered, very well played, and you just know it when there's no plugins on and you can just press play and it already sounds that close to finished, and you just got to give it up for the people who played it and the person who recorded it. And let's check out that chorus, because, man, the chorus is infectious. How catchy is that for instrumental music? All right, let's take a look at the drums. Looks like we've got the kick in mic right here, as well as a trigger and a sample, two samples actually that he gave us. That was nice of him. Sometimes the Nail the Mix mixers don't give their samples. Nick was feeling festive this holiday season, gave us everything. Let's hear the inside kick mic. Totally usable. And let's take a look at this. Check it out. The kick trigger is actually ahead of the track, and I believe that that is on purpose. I believe that that is to open gates before the drums actually hit. So keep that in mind. Let's hear these samples. Nice. Big, wide, roomy sound. You can actually really hear that in the final mix. I think he utilized this sample very well. That's the kind of sample that's tough to use in a metal song, actually, because it's so boomy. But it's just right for a track like this. Let's check out the snare. Nice and high to cut through the wall of music that's going to come on when I unmute it. And let's hear the snare sample. He also gave us a snare sample. And obviously the snare sample, if you just played it by itself on the ghost notes, it would sound kind of dumb. But it's not meant to be played by itself on the ghost notes, so it doesn't sound dumb. And to bring out those ghost notes, we do have this very nice bottom snare, actually. Put those all together, you have a pretty good snare sound. Let's hear that with the kick. Nice foundation. Looks like the toms are already pre-cleaned. Thank you, Nick. Let's Let's hear what we got going on. Keeping the motif with the snare of high-pitched drums makes sense for this kind of music. Tasty. Nice. That overhead definitely brings it to life. I am kind of bobbing my head to this. It looks like the ride and the hi-hat have not been cleaned out, so you're going to have to manually gate them or just automate the shit out of them. But just slowly soloing or bringing in, unmuting more and more of these drums, it's bringing a kit image that's very nice, very natural, grooves very hard. It sounds like a drummer in a room. It's just well done. See, right there, you may want to turn that hi-hat down a little. I'm going to turn down the hi-hat anyways, because who needs them that loud? Let's hear what this room brings. So I would actually maybe turn, I like that room, I would just maybe solo the drums, turn the room all the way down, and slowly bring it in. Let's just hear what it adds. Cool. The moment we've all been waiting for. Hasn't been out long enough to call it iconic, but let's listen to this iconic slap bass. Metal guys, you're so used to just splitting everything, distorting the top, maybe even synthesizing the bottom, and yeah, sure, you might be able to do that, but you're not going to be able to hide this bass in distortion. There are no guitars to swallow the bass, nothing to hide behind. You're going to really need to bring this bass out, and that rhythmic motif is kind of like the main rhythmic motif in the song. Just listen to the snare and the kick and bass, and just how it sets the theme. I'll leave the overheads in there as well. And turn up the bass just a little bit. Quality. If you can lock the low end of that bass with the low end of that kick and really get them punching in time, well, like, just do it. That's going to be one grooving ass track. All right, let's move on to guitars. And there's so much cool stuff. No rhythms, but so much cool stuff. So tasty. And I really, really think it's tasteful the way that the octaves are doubled and panned. Check that out. Just a classy sounding guitar arrangement. And we got these effects guitars. Let you hear them by themselves. We got this. Ooh, I love this kind of stuff. Pro tip, you might want to just turn this stuff down a little bit. I mean, obviously you're going to do some EQ and all that, but just for now, just turn it down just a little bit to get it out of the way. I'm going to mute everything that's not a guitar, bass, or drum. Now, if you're used to hearing this song, this might sound cool to you, but it probably sounds really, really empty because the synth is such a huge part of what gives them their sound. Let's explore that, like especially in this chorus. I know that the guitars are doubled in octaves, but I think that the synth is doubled as well. Check it out. Yes. So you're really going to have to do some thinking and some listening as to what goes where volume-wise. Let's hear what this deep boy sub kick is. Oh, yeah. This is kind of like the blanket that's underneath the whole tune. It kind of glues it all together. Love it. This is another part of that blanket. And this band is tasty. This arrangement is tasty. Great job, guys. Nice. That adds ambience and room that the natural room alone couldn't provide. Sometimes you got to do that. I think it's perfectly placed. You're going to have to be careful. You're going to have to be careful with all this low-end information. Don't let it get overwhelming. Right? Just because you don't have big, raging, heavy guitars doesn't mean you don't need to keep this controlled. The original mix is very controlled. So there is a lot of bass synth information, but it's more fun that way. Synth Arp. Let's see what that is. Oh, I love this. Ooh, nice fade up. Let's check this out. And I really like that synth arp. What a tasty fade up. That's fun. Alright guys, as you can see, this is kind of just a landscape of lush atmospheric synths, guitars, roomy drums, very cool slap bass, and no vocals or heavy guitars to get in the way, so sky's really the limit with what kind of soundscapes you can create from this song. And if you subscribe to Nail the Mix, nailthemix.com/Polyphia, you can download these raw multi-tracks and get straight to work. Thanks, guys. This is Eyal Levi with Nail the Mix signing off.